Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 585. Today we'll be doing battle with the Berserker in backpack battles. And so, like with the two previous videos, we're hanging out in low diamond, but I think things are finally starting to click for me. I think I'm getting to the kind of space to where we'll be moving up through the ranks a little bit. We'll see if we can't give some of that knowledge to you as we go. And we're playing injured today. Can you see that? You see that on the finger? Look at that bruisey looking stuff. It's tough. This is gonna be like Jordan in the playoffs, right? Jordan shows up to the playoffs with the flu, has the game of his life. That's what's about to happen to us here today. We're gonna show up injured and we're going to do just fine. And so, reasonable enough start. These leather armors are so good in the early game, just as we normally start off with, what are we at, 25 health here on level 1? Getting that 45 right at the beginning almost doubles your health right from the get-go, and so it usually just hard carries you through the first couple of rounds, and it makes me want to come out and kind of pick up things like the piggy bank, just be a little bit greedy out here if we can. And so, happy enough to pick up the armor. I do want to pick up the broom. I feel like with the Berserker, you really do want to be in the space of going after the more magical kind of builds, at least most of the time. And so kicking things off with the broom so we get access to that magic wand is a nice little start here. And so let's kick off the first round, see if we can't get a W. See, look at this. Look at this injury. So tough. It's like I don't even know how it happens. It happens like twice a year at the gym, to where you like pick up a dumbbell or you pick up a barbell and it like pinches your finger in a weird way and it just like pops the blood vessel or something. I think that's what happened. Like I couldn't squeeze my finger shut for a day, and then it looked kind of gnarly the day after, and now we're a few days after that and it's cleaned itself up a bit. And so the struggles of life, I guess. And so, after that strong first round, we crushed our first opponent, no problem. Nothing really to build around here, nothing on sale. Kind of a crappy shop after that initial pretty good one. And so I'm considering just taking a roll and see if we get a little bit of direction out of the next one. What I will say is I'm not a super fan of going after the hero sword kind of builds with the Berserker. You see the whetstone here. We don't have any build-arounds with it, so I'm not super excited. And then what I will say with the dagger is, while I do like the dagger with the Berserker, especially as he got this new spiked staff here recently, and stacking up on empowered does really help when you have the free attacks off of the dagger. But the thing I wanted to say is I feel like the hammer builds are just a bait, and so like trying to get the hammer and then the brass knuckles and maybe a rock golem and getting all of the free hits in with the dagger, it seems like a very mid build to me. And so while I'm not opposed to picking up the dagger at this spot, we need just like better build around kind of stuff, and we need some more bags. And so I feel like the roll there is okay, and this was just a pretty strong hit. We get the bag, we get the banana, and we get the garlic out here just to get the full sustain route. Or we could look to come in and just pick up the either the lump of coal or the healing herbs. I think we'll just let those go. I'm gonna snatch up this garlic. We can rearrange the bag here a little bit to be a bit more friendly, and then jump into the next round. Still pretty decent. I like this nice heavy sustained run that we have here in the beginning. Okay. Let's see, opponent got a shield. I will say here in recent days I've become much more accustomed to taking the defensive styled items. I used to just kind of auto pass on the shield, and now I'm getting much closer to just auto taking it every game. It feels very powerful in the early game, and so how the times change, how the times change. So what do we got here? It's another not super strong set of items. We can pick up the pan, look to pick the pan and the broom into the shovel. I'm usually not a huge fan of the shovel, but I think it's kind of okay here. Like, we can carry this greedy style build on for a few more rounds, see if we can't pick up something a little bit more on point with what our build is trying to do. I don't think we need to just come out and take this this spear in the early game just yet, right? We need something to really carry us through the early game. We don't want to be in this spot to where we're getting into like round 8 and round 10, and our attack capabilities are just a forging hammer and a broom, and we're just like, why didn't the mana orb turn up, right? And so I don't think we're just super worried at it at this point. Let's just pick up the pan. We'll pick up the pocket sand, take the roll, and see if anything else interesting turns up. So we can just go just huge economy. We don't have the space for all of this, right? If we want to pick up the leather bag and have the double piggy bank going, but I think I'm at least a little on board with it. We can pick up the bag. There's this shield I was talking about wanting. Maybe we look to pick it up as well. I do want to come in and make the shovel. So where's it at? We need to get 2 more gold and have 4 spaces to get the to get the shield up and running. I think we can do that. Hang on, let me take a quick peek here. If we end up just selling this piggy bank, get the forging hammer in here, and look at this. Look at how fast I was able to figure that out. Sure, I think I'm on board with that. If we're being a little bit greedy here, picking up the shovel, it's probably okay to just ship away that extra piggy bank. Okay. Not certain if we should put the banana in the bag instead of the forging hammer. I'm not real impressed with what the forging hammer actually does, but still feels like a reasonable build at this point. Smashed our Berserker opponent into the battle rage, and so we should be pretty fairly certain we'll just take this down quickly. Okay. Good stuff. So what do we got here? More bananas, more garlic. I'm not opposed to it. Like a lot of the time with the Berserker, I do really like picking up this Deerwood Guardian. We'll find that we do land on these fairly mana-heavy builds, and the Deerwood Guardian is the mana item for the Berserker. And so it just keys off of nature items, and you typically just hit that with food. So the Deerwood Guardian is, what's like at the forefront of what I would plan to be doing. So picking up these foods feels pretty decent. Otherwise, it's a fairly weak bag. And so I'm looking to just pick up the banana. I think if we really push away from the food, then we can try and convert these bananas into the super yellow potions. And so it's not like it's a complete loss. Not going to pick up this other garlic, though. I don't think we'll really be putting it out on board. And now we've got a bag and another interesting choice here in the corrupted crystal. Now, I will say, I haven't really been going for pandemonium style builds, like just the pure food build out of the Berserker. It's still doable. It's just not something that I'm really keen on going within this patch. And so without wanting to chase down the food, I'm a little less interested in trying to pick up the corrupted crystals this early, especially since we just converted our pan into the shovel, right? Now, if we still had the pan, I could kind of convince myself that maybe we'll pick up the corrupted crystal, build the pandemonium, look to get the food build kind of going. But if we really pick up the crystal and then don't find the pan, I feel like it's just way too early to snatch it up. And so it's I guess locking it isn't that big of a thing. It's not that big of a deal just to ensure that it's there on the next round. We're just losing one roll and then we could just unreserve it if we really want to. But I think we have to roll pretty high to want the crystal at this point, and then even if we do hit, I don't really want it. And so we'll just stay away from that kind of thing for the moment. I just don't think it's going to pay off at the end of the day. We have a reasonable enough sack right now. That's what everybody's told me my whole life. Bust. Your sack is reasonable. It's very adequate. That's what you want to hear from somebody, right? You say, "Oh man, you are so adequate." Especially in the sack and with the sack. All of the sacks very adequate these days. All right, we win in this round. We're just going to get poisoned out of this. We nowhere near fast enough to take down this warlock, take down this reaper, and so sad day for us. Our sack was not adequate enough. On to the next round. What turns up? And so this is a spot I kind of want to pick up the broom, right? As I was mentioning earlier. We don't really want to be rolling into round 8, round 10 and just not have a really high-powered weapon. And, the shovel and the forging hammer aren't going to cut it for much longer. And so I do want to pick up the broom if we're really going to be intent on chasing after the mana builds. It's what we're going to need. And so I think we're just kind of stuck taking it here since we did make the shovel earlier. Otherwise, there is a wooden sword along with a lump of coal. We could look to take this and make the magical torch. I don't really like that if we're chasing mana builds. What I will say I like with the Berserker is I want a mana thirst and I want a spike staff, and then if the spike staff doesn't come together, we tend to be able to work with the serpent staff, especially if we've picked up a rando dagger and we put the the poison dagger out there, but like what you tend to find is the magic torch and the mana thirst and the spike staff are just too much stamina for it to work. And so if you're not stacking a bunch of the full set of items on the magic torch, it just feels like kind of a waste. And so I usually just don't look to build the torch with the berserker. I don't think it tends to pay off enough. And so I'm going to skip over that. We will pick up the broom. We can still put it in the bag. We can still combat with this thing out here. And so it's not a horrible deal to come out and get up and running. It just takes up a lot of space. But some reasonable stuff out here as well. I'm going to pick up this on sale Cap of Resilience. We definitely want one before the day is over with. The question here is going to be, do we want any of these upgrades, right? Getting the stone helm is quite fine, right? We don't typically find any other healing shred besides the Cap of Discomfort, but the stone helm is here. It is fairly good, and we can look to go towards the pets and get a shield and then have this big wrap of armor gaining things. Like, that's something that we could definitely chase after here, especially since we're not really locked into anything right now. The only thing locking us into a mana build is the singular broom. And so as we do get to the subclass, we could most certainly just switch over to pets. And that's what I'm kind of leaning towards at this moment. I want to just maybe lock in the Stone Skin Potion, let the dagger go, and then we'll see if we can't get something moving with that. Let's see. Let's do a little bit of rearranging. Want both of our weapons within the bag. We just got plenty of space here, right? We can put the banana. Can we fit that in? No, it's not going to fit. Okay. Reasonable enough, I think. I'm never certain. Maybe we would rather do this to where we just keep the onion locked up on both of the bananas. Okay. Reserve on the potion next round. So yeah, good stuff. Coming at him. This is what the Berserker was meant to look like. You got the broom, you got the shovel. You say fuck the great swords, fuck the buster swords. I'm just coming out here with my cleaning materials. Just come out here and sweep up the pits after the battle. But what do we got here? It's getting close. God, you got a huge crit right at the end. I was gonna say, like, he's getting fairly built up in the buffs, but we had the 6 stacks of blind on him. I failed to recognize he's got the 8 stack of thorns on there, which is really painful for what we're trying to do. But all right, crappy set of stuff. Pick up this Stone Skin Potion. Let's take a roll. Maybe something useful will turn up. Not really. This is a fairly crappy set of bags. It is interesting seeing the Corrupted Crystal turn up. I don't think we're really in a spot to take it. I'm still fine with this idea of going for the Stone Skin Potion. Could look to pick up the pineapple, but again, like it just feels like we're pretty far away from going after a Deerwood Guardian kind of build at this point, right? We've seen 0 blueberries. We've seen 0 mana orbs. Like, it just doesn't feel like it's really on the table. And so what I look at with these kind of things is with the Shaman Mask, we've passed on like a lot of charcoals. Like, I'm not super interested in the Shaman Mask this patch. I don't think it's very good. I like to go for flutes if we're going to use the Shaman Mask. And so that hasn't brought itself together. You can go for the kind of generalist in the anvil, but we haven't crafted anything at this point. I don't think it's going to do too much. The brass knuckles is the best just kind of generalist item, in my opinion. It doesn't do anything well. It doesn't do anything poorly. If you're chasing after, say, like a food build, but you don't want to go for mana, it's pretty reasonable there, right? If we're big, like heavy into, say, cheeses, if we found a cheese or two at this point, we're wanting to go for a what's it called, an Excalibur kind of build, and the brass knuckles kind of fits there. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to be going after this wolf emblem. Maybe we'll find a kind of sub theme within the armor, but this is where it just kind of feels like our build is going. And so with that in mind, if we are building towards those armors, I just want to stick with this Stone Skin Potion along with the Cap of Resilience. I think that's what's going to be fine for us. And so the other kind of thing here is I think I'm about ready to get rid of the Wooden Buckler. It does start to fall off, right? Preventing 4 damage at the very early game is quite good. As the weapons get stronger and stronger, it just kind of falls off in strength, and we need the bag space here at this point. And so I'm looking to, I think, sell the shield. We're going to pick up this banana. And then just have something like this. Looks reasonable to me. Oop. All right. What do we got? Up against the Phoenix. Okay. Maybe. Maybe we can hang. Maybe we can handle. See his health start to trickle down. Not too much sustain out of him. About to get our big armor boost coming out of this. It's always a bummer in this space to where the potion doesn't pop off with the items that we have, and so it feels like a bit of a waste until that helmet comes in, but still able to take the round down. So, all right, good stuff. We got our stone helm. Congratulations. Definitely want to pick up this fanny pack. Now, this is kind of an interesting space. I don't think we'll be doing too much out of the Goobert. So you can't see this. Goobert wants to mix with the lightsaber and make the light Goobert. It's just not what our build is meant to do. It's not incredibly challenging to go after the Royal Goobert, whatever it's called. You don't see me building it here because it's tough to do. But the gemstones, if we'd taken them earlier, I think that would have been a thing. But it's always worth keeping these Gooberts in mind as we're looking to go for the pet build, and it is a pet. I think it's just probably too much of an ask at this point, though. So let's get it out of the way. Nothing too interesting here. There is a flute, but I don't think we're going to have the spaces for it. We do already have all of these bananas, so we have some stamina regen. Let's just keep rolling and see if we can't find something a little bit more on theme. And so here we finally get some decent choices, right? I'm looking towards just going with the Thorn Whip, right? Selling off the shovel, selling off the broom, converting the Thorn Whip into the Chain Whip, and then looking to move over into into that pet build. Now, the interesting thing with the Thorn Whip is it does work quite nicely with the Gooberts, with the way that it lines up. You can use it to get the scaling bonus, and you can, or the Steel Goobert, should say. You can get the scaling bonus, and you can get the activations off of the same weapon. We're pretty far away from that, so I don't think that's going to come together at this point, but I do like it in those scenarios. Yeah, let's see here. We're going to sell this shovel. We're going to sell the broom. I'm just kind of completely done thinking that that's going to be a thing. Let's snatch up this Thorn Whip. How do we want that to look? Something like this. Maybe if we just put it off to the edge out here, it'll be easier to manage. I can't remember. I don't think the Thorn Whip rearranges itself in terms of like when it grows, right? So when it hits its level 2 form, I don't think it changes shape like the Impractically Large Greatsword into Buster Sword does. All right, our bag feels incredibly empty at this point now. It feels like we could have maybe left a little shit. Maybe could have left a little bit more things in here. We'll do a little bit of rearranging later. Something like this, so all of our bananas are touching the garlic. Okay, seems reasonable. Like, I don't know, we didn't sell that much stuff over the course of the past 2 rounds, right? I guess we just sold 2 of our weapons, and that makes it look like a big deal, but it doesn't feel like we did that much. What do we got going on here? He's got a wand. We caught the Reaper just before he was upgrading to his level 2 staff, and we're just getting aced by all these debuffs, not dealing nearly enough damage. But we get the upgrade to our big weapon after this round. Hopefully we can get things turning. So pick up the wolf emblem for certain. I'm not opposed to picking up things like the Hungry Blade, but I would really rather just start trying to find some of these wolves. And so your mana starts to jump, or your stamina starts to jump real quick once you've added in both of these items. And so let's wait a hot minute before we try and pick up something else. And so now, interesting, we have another Goobert turn up. These Gooberts can be good, but they're a little challenging to hit, right? We'd either need to hit blood or need to hit cheese. I guess we could kind of keep in the back of our mind that maybe we'll look to hit on the the big gemstone one, but it's tough. I mean, I guess it's not too impractical here to buy the Goobert, buy the heroic potion, and then keep that in the kind of back of our mind as something that we could do. I'd really rather just kind of keep rolling and see if we can't find additional wolves. It's like a very, very expensive spec on something that, even if it pays off, isn't that spectacular. So let's just roll. Let's get that out of our minds. And now it's a reasonable set with the, at least we have a pet in the wolf and tiger, wolf and pinger. And so we'll look to kind of build around that. Let's get you in here, friend. Let's get our wolf thing up and running. He's trying to get both of our, or at least our important weapon in the mix. So that looks reasonable. It's not hitting our tiger. Let's just go ahead and get the speed thing onto the chain whip. Okay. We're getting close. Shouldn't be too much rearranging here. It's like you get to this endpoint to say, fuck, this banana's right out of the way. Okay, there we go. If we're only getting 2, we can just shift over 1. Okay, it seems like a reasonable place to be building to. Not quite the pets that we want just yet, but we have at least picked up some direction. I think that we're going to struggle over the course of the next few rounds, but we'll have to see. He's got the godly sword. He's lacking in the new whip, but we hit battle rage before he did. Always a sad state to be in. Just couldn't quite pull it off. And yeah, the other thing to note is like our stamina stayed quite strong there. I'm curious if we want to just snatch up this other thorn whip now that it turns up. I don't think our stamina gets like aced too hard, especially when we have these 3 bananas and we have the wolf and tiger to give us a little bit more stamina. And so let's see how this goes. Let's see. Spacing like this is reasonable. Got our wolf on everything. We need this space above the thorn whip to get this other upgrade happening. And maybe we just look to start shifting things out to the left. We gotta leave some space to get these pets in if they ever turn up, but they gotta turn up first, right? Yeah, it's annoying. Let me see. To look better going this way. It's like we're not using these bags particularly well. I guess that's fine. Looks like things did at least open up a little bit there. Okay, I don't love it. We're not boosting any of our bananas, but otherwise that paid off. It is worth noting there is the box of riches up here if we do want to go after that big goobert. Like, we're not going to be generating the mana for that royal goobert thing though, and so I think we can let it go. This looks reasonable enough here. Curious to see how atrocious our our stamina is going to be this round. See how much it holds up with 2 of these chain whips instead of just 1. It's one of the spots like I'm still kind of uncertain within this, in the sense that, like in the previous round, we were using like literally no stamina, and we've just kind of really upped it to taking a lot more. And so I don't know how poor of a choice that is, trying to get both of these chain whips up and running. It's like we have so many bananas, we have to be able to manage a bit of it, but it's like as you look at this as a resource game, and just not using your stamina resource feels like a loss. And so I'm not quite certain what the answer is. Like, I know these are pretty high stamina items, right? Being 0.9 a second. If we couldn't find something a little bit better, I'm not certain, but it's a pain point just sitting there and seeing the stamina never drain. But all right, maybe we can upgrade a bit now. We found our first pet. Hopefully, we've only got 1 health left, and so hopefully this is the kind of place to where we can survive for just a little bit and maybe get these things up and running. It's another pain point we have on the day. Let's see. Let's see if we can't get these bags to work a little bit in our favor. Got the pets touching each other. That sounds great. Alright, here's a space for another banana. I mean, I guess it might be reasonable to just shift everything up 1 and then try and do banana down here on the bottom. At least it generates a bunch of stamina that way. So I see this and know that there has to be a way to do it, right? You've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hexes open, and we're just trying to fit 1 banana in. Gotta be a way to do that. I mean, we've got this entire bag here, right? Shit. There. Is that closer? That's closer. Okay. So nothing else to reserve. I'm fine with the forging hammer in the bag. I guess... Does this get us closer? Like, you do miss out on the forging hammer picking up those bonus stats outside of the main bag, the Berserker bag, but I guess we at least fit our hammer in. This way our tigers are still touching each other. Alright. See how it goes. Not feeling spectacular about it, but maybe this can do it. Maybe we can strip enough of these flames off of the old Pyromancer to keep them at bay. Push into another round. Stamina's a lot more effective this round, though. I'm not certain if that last guy just had a shield and I didn't realize it, or if we just managed our stamina a lot better. But that was insane, right? That previous round, our stamina was just completely gone, and here we didn't even crash out at the bottom. That's wild. But okay, maybe things are kind of turning around here, and so definitely want to be picking up the bag. I do like these oil lamps, but I don't think we need it right away in this build. Like, I would much rather be picking up literally any pet as opposed to just picking the lamp up, because the wolf emblem should give us some of that scaling, right? And so I don't entirely think we need the oil lamp, but I almost always want to be picking up one of these. And so it's just like the bummer of a moment that we're at now is we can get it. It's going to take us down to 7 gold, and then we'll need to roll and try and find another pet, and then if we just miss, we're just done. And so I think maybe we let it go and just try and find more of these pets in this space. Of course we miss. Pick up the pocket sand because it's free. Keep on rolling. Maybe we'll find something. Fanny pack is okay. We got space and time for one more. See, and here he is. He costs 7. It's a very strong bag for us. Should we be able to survive the round, being able to get both the Courage Puppy and the Shield of Valor for the big armor gains. But man, I am not convinced that we're going to be able to win this round in any way, shape, or form. Oh, I guess it just kind of is what it is. Do we get any better usage out of these bananas, moving them over to the right? I don't think so. All right, let's get our pocket sand in there. That's going to be the key. Do we want to pick up a dagger here, just to give us another way to punch in a little bit more damage? Right. The thing that is nice with these daggers is if you are building up empowered off of the wolf emblem, then you can just have these kind of free attacks chunking it in. I think looking at 19 gold for the thing we want on the next turn, we probably just got to let it skip. All right, fellas, squeeze them cheeks. What do we got here up against the poisons? Our buff shred is not going to be doing much this round. Little concerned. Doing something, I guess. Our stamina is finally drained. Okay. We get down to the one try round and things start to turn around a little bit, and so nice bit of a bonus there. Alright, so let's see. We've got to start selling some of this stuff off. Let's get rid of the garlic. We'll pick up the shield. Now this is a spot to where we're going to have to rearrange a bit. Right, if we get ourselves up here, at least in this top row, the shield should be pretty close to hitting everything up here. Right, we've got the armor dog, we've got the armor itself, and then the stone helm all getting the bonus off the shield of valor. That's fine. We need to get the dog in here as well. Up in this space is where it's going to be reasonable. How far out does that reach? That looks good. Okay, things are starting to come together there. Now just a little bit awkward with the bag space we have left over. We can get one of these bananas in. This shouldn't be too challenging. Oh, we messed that up. I thought we had the space out here. That's what we can do. We can rotate this bag. That gets our chain whip in. Now we have this space up at the top. I don't think we can deal with this one hex left over to get another banana up and running. So that's fine, I guess. Let's reserve both the bag and the heroic potion. We were starting to run out of stamina in that last round, and I would like to stack some of these potions in. And so, you know, if we can start to survive here and keep these things up and running, might be turning the corner just a little bit. Need to get this dog upgraded though. I mean, I guess this is fine. We do miss out on the bonus crit hitting on the courage puppy. We'll just have to wait around until it can rotate. Oh, I guess no, it's fine. So what do we got here? Up against a big axe guy. Keeping all of his buffs stripped. That's kind of nice. God, he hit the battle rage just a moment before us. Let's see how we do. Right down to the end. Oh, that was close. That was close. Our health dipped below his right at the end, and then our chain whips came through right before disaster struck. So good stuff. So we want the sack. We want the potion. Kind of a lacking board here. Now, it's kind of interesting, and maybe we want to pick up this shield late. Right? It's pretty late in the game to be wanting the wooden buckler, but we're getting to the point to where, you know, the game is just almost done, and so you know, it's like if we've got the space for it, and we're only going to play 1 or 2 more rounds, then maybe it's okay to have. I guess the other kind of bummer down here is we're using a lot of these. We're missing 3 of the hexes on these fanny packs that we kind of need to sort out as well. How much better does that look? A little bit. Okay, so that's getting a little bit closer. That'll also give us that space to put in the buckler if we want. Okay, so something like this, we can get all of our items in. Sorry, buckler, you're not going to get picked up for the day. I think that's about as good as this space is going to get. And then should we survive, we'll have a little bit of gold for the next round. But right, that makes sense with this thing. It's not a particularly special item at this point, but if we have the space for it and the money and we're only trying to survive like 1 more round, then it could be worth a take. If we had a lot more hearts and we were trying to shoot through into the survival rounds, not something we'd really want to give up on. But if we're just trying to make it 1 or 2 more rounds, then it makes a bit of sense. All right, up against the Fatigue Reaper. Lots of buffs for us to come in and chew away. His Empowered is starting to stack heavy, though. I think we might get him. Big crits coming in towards the end. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. What do we got here? Cheese? It's a little late in the game for a cheese. I don't think that that's what we're going to look. Definitely don't want any of these weapons. Let's move into the next space. Another heroic potion along with a protective purse sounds pretty good. Also want this mana orb to upgrade the Shield of Valor. And so I think we can afford all this, right? That's 12, 14. Yeah, we're good to go. We might even get a roll out of this round should we want. Right, even though we don't intend on using the mana gain out of the Moon Shield, it is worth noting that it's just on attack. So if we're up against a ranger hitting us with all ranged attacks, the Moon Shield will prevent stuff to where the base level Shield of Valor only stops melee attacks. So good stuff there. Get the next heroic potion in. No rolls left. Okay. Let's move on, friends. Look at this. What a round of bullshit this is, right? We've seen literally 2 Berserker pets, and this guy has 3, 5, 8. That's insane, right? Like I don't know what to think of that. Are we still at least going to come in and crush? Seems like things are going okay for us. We're way ahead of him, just stripping all of the buffs. But that's insane, right? Like I don't know. Like there's a lot of decision making you have in these games as to where you can just roll. You can start rolling to see if you hit these things, but like how I don't know. It's like you just have to find one in like literally every shop, and so it's like this guy's build at this moment. He's either at like a way different stage than we are. I guess what could have maybe happened here. Like I don't know how the matchmaking entirely works in this game. But if it's only like matching you based on wins, then I guess I could see you like 5-0ing into the subclass round and then losing 4. So right, since we're like at this last round of the beginning with 1 heart left, like if it's only pairing you off against wins, then it is reasonable to think that he couldn't have gotten to the mid game and then just went on a huge losing streak to where our losing streak happened a lot earlier than theirs did. But that is just like so insane and wild to me to see this match show up, right? As to where we've taken literally every dog that we've seen, which has been 2, and this guy has like he has 8. Like I don't know. That's insane. That's insane. But all right, we made it through the round, and look at this, no dogs, and so no dogs. That's kind of crazy. So how do we want to take this on? So the thing I will note here is we'll push on into the survival round should we get that far. I feel like typically at this point, if we win this round, you would just want to stop. We are so lacking in hitting a lot of the late game style of stuff, right? Looking at that previous opponent as being kind of like the baseline of what we're going to see in the survival rounds, you're just so much further ahead than us. We're just going to get annihilated. And so where this kind of tangent is going is in this space, I would want to just buy stuff that gets us as high powered as possible going into this final round. And so I would want to pick up the divinity potion. I'd want to pick up the health potion. I'd probably roll the dice with the unidentified amulet. But if our intent is to just go into the survival rounds with like a lot of health, then you are going to be playing for a long game and not doing that kind of thing. And so operating under the assumption that like this next round is a must win, I'm just going to kick things off with the unidentified amulet. Pretty reasonable hitting on the amulet of steel, as we are pretty heavy into this armor-based comp, so that was a pretty decent hit. I want this divine potion either way. I think we'll skip past the health potion though. Let's take a roll. Like we have 2 rolls at hitting a dog, and that might help upgrade us into that space. Miss on the first one, miss on the second one, but we did find a spiked collar, which is fine. Now, one of the things that's kind of interesting to me here is like if we would prefer to be like loading up with the divine potions here for the buff cleanse, right? So we have this option with our potions to either have the heroic potions suck up the divine so that we get all the debuffs, or we can go for the more attack oriented build to where the divine potion is drinking in from the heroic, getting that stamina regen and the empowered. I'm leaning towards just going with the divine. Like realistically, I think these battles should be kind of should be kind of dragging out a bit if we're just like soaking all the opponent's debuffs and then ideally just churning through the long game with all of this armor gain. And so I'm going to leave it on the Divine Potion there. I think that that's the reasonable way to do it. Now here we're going to pick up this Spiked Collar. Then we'll leave the reserve on the Heroic Potion so that we can snatch that up for the next round. Got $1 left for the stone. That's what's going to be the big make or break moment here, is tossing this one stone. Looks like we're up against a thorn build. We should be okay against thorns, I think, if we're able to just keep the thorns stripped with the chain whips. Seems like we're doing quite well against this guy. Ripped him good. And again, like I said, I would recommend just stopping here, right? Just taking the 6 and quitting. I don't think we're going to be too successful into the survival rounds, but let's take a peek at what turns up. Maybe we'll learn something along the way, see what these end game builds look like. You know, maybe you learn a thing or two. Jeez, this has been brutal. Brutal the way these things are turning up. Let's see, we gotta make another Heroic Potion. I kind of want this Divine Potion as well. Maybe we take it on lock. We gotta find a bag if we're gonna get it to fit in, though. It's like we can sell the stone, but we're gonna be $1 short of getting the Divine Potion. And so I think that that's, you know, a reasonable idea, going for these Divine Potions, in the sense that it should be a bit of a grind fest. If things are going well, we're stripping their buffs, and then if it's just kind of on even footing, then I think that we should be the ones doing well there. So we'll keep it. Yeah. What are we up against? The Flame comp. Got him. I say we kept him at bay. He was never hitting 100 in that round, and so good for us. Now let's see. We found a potion bag. Seems fine. Divine bag, collar. We want just the pets. You know, the pets are just off the table at this point. This game has just been insane. Can we actually make usage of this potion bag? Oh, that's not what you like to see. I wanna move the Amulet of Steel down one, and then it just falls off the dragon armor. Yeah. I mean, I guess the debuff cleanse on the potion belt isn't that big of a deal, since we're kind of debuff cleansing with these divine potions, anyways. Does not look how I want it to look. Something like this should be a bit closer. Again, we want to maximize these debuff removals, I think. At least that's what I'm shooting for here. All right, anything else? I want to save the tiger. You know, that's I guess if we're getting a pet, the wolf tiger is our option. That's all we can get. This game's been wild, and so might as well go ahead and lock it in. See what we got here. Another pet-based friend. Well, if we can keep his mana in check, I think that we'll be fairly okay. Right, these chain whips doing the work. We hit Battle Rage way before him. Not good. Not good. Yeah, it seemed like a reasonable thought, but it's so brutal when you're both going for kind of the same build, and then they just have 4 times the pets that you do. And so I'm not real certain how to think of that in some other way. But this here will be our last round. It's the last round to go. Might as well pick up the whetstone since we can get it on board. We can rearrange these bags just a little bit better, I think. We'll get an additional fanny pack on the chain whip that lets us fit the wolf tiger into the mix. Let's get this the whetstone onto our higher quality chain whip. Get the spiked collar in the bag. All right, let's go. That's as good as it's going to get. What do you all think? How we doing? Up against a crit ranger? Shitload of armor coming out of this thing. Lots of debuffs coming, or lots of poison buffs coming in as well. I don't think we're going to be able to outrun that poison. Right? That was kind of the idea that I had with these divine puffs is, oh shit, we did it. Woof. Woof. Good job, Bust. I was like, that was the idea with these divine potions is that we can, I'm not planning on clearing all of the poison, but just enough to keep us kind of in the mix and in the run. And so good job. Go team. We survived it to the end. We made it the whole way. Got those extra points of Backpack Battles LP. And so I think that went pretty reasonably, right? What this is the kind of build like I don't know what to think of this. Like again, I'm not 100% certain on how the matchmaking logic works within this game. If it's just matching you against a person of the same number of wins, then that's, you know, kind of interesting in terms of when you're collecting your hearts. Because to me, it's like the auto battler I have the most experience with is Teamfight Tactics, and there's a lot of strategy tied to losing early. I know that in like recent sets they've edited how the early game gold economy works to where it's not as cost effective to open fort, to where you're just losing on purpose to get the max economy gain. But you know, a similar thing could apply here. Again, like I don't know how the matchmaking works if you're just playing against people with the same number of wins, the same number of wins and tries, or just something kind of within the mix um, of where your record is. But there is some things that you could kind of come in and min max with that. Again, if like maybe we need to kind of think in our heads as we're getting to that subclass round, if we've lost a bunch, then maybe one of these builds to where you really need to find the class specific subclass units, you just can't do it at that point, right? If we're looking to play, say, Frost Pyromancer would be another thing to where you need to find the Frost Scrolls for your build to pop off, but if you don't have the time to find the Frost Scrolls, then nothing ever comes together. And so, you know, if you know how the game works, please let me know. I'll try to do a little bit of Reddit research to see if we can't figure it out on our own. But that's like a big decision making point there, right? As we look at ourselves compared to that, you know, that one guy with the same Berserker build, as to where, you know, we've seen two dogs the entirety of the run. He had fucking 8, right? And so I don't know, you know, what we messed up to get it to that point, if we just like super low rolled or if we're doing something wrong. That's something that we definitely need to figure out. Otherwise, you know, I think this build went okay. Again, I do like to kick off with the Berserker looking to build towards mana, looking to build towards the Spike Staff along with a Mana Thirst, but we didn't see any of the mana-based items within this run. And so I think we really kind of made the best out of what was given to us, right? In the sense that we definitely didn't get a first place build, but we took the crap that was given and made the best, and you know, turned it into a win at the end of the day. And so, good stuff. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that's going to do it for us today. So if everyone enjoyed the video, hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way. You had a good time watching. This is Bust and me. Thank you for being here.